Well, hello everyone, and welcome to the Jeep Life Podcast Live Edition. Jeep and Terry, and I'm hanging out with you on this Monday night. Um, my hat's crooked, but as always, it's going to be a good time. I hope. I love getting to see the Jeepers in the world that join us for our podcasts every Monday night, and it's fun to do this and have a good time. I did get some new audio equipment, and I'm really blown away by this. I got the Zoom PodTrack P4 Next as my mix board, and it has some built-in features that are just it makes my life in post a lot easier because I'm recording um, with better quality audio. It has compression built in. It has a tone that really changes the way the voice sounds, and then it just has a AI. Um, what do they call it? They call it AI noise reduction. But what it does is just takes the ambient noise and removes it automatically, so I don't have to go and search that in my post production. Um, it's pretty cool. And so if I turn some of these features off, um, it sounds okay. It's not bad because I've got a decent mic and everything. But it's when I start, earlier I was like, where's that hiss coming from? And it's just all the background noise. And I click on that AI noise reduction, and it removes everything. It removes all the stuff that goes on in the background. Really, really like this thing. What's up, Danny? Um, and then I can add in some compression automatically, and it gives me a full voice. Just when I hit the button, it changed everything. And then there's a tone button that once I hit that, it gives that really, really nice full sound that I would normally have to work a bit in the studio on software and adjust that. But um, it allows me to do it on the fly with this piece of equipment. It's awesome. I'm enjoying having it, and hopefully it makes the audio quality a little bit better. We're waiting on some people to join us. I know that we've got a few people watching right now, but it always takes a few minutes for everybody to warm up. It's a solo show tonight, so there's I don't have to wait for somebody to join us, but glad to see you, Danny. Yeah, I got home and reheated some food from last night, um, and then ran down here to just hit record and go. I didn't have much of a time to prepare for this. I I feel like it's a pretty good show. Topic tonight. Tonight we're going to be talking about the trails that um, changed us. I don't think I'll be making it to G Beach this year. I've gone for the past several years, and with work, but it's a long ways to go for a Jeep weekend, and I don't know that I'll make it. It it's soon after EJS, and I'm definitely trying to get to Moab this year again. Um, and we'll see where that takes us. But I'm not sure. Um, what's up, Matthew? Yeah, I got your email, and I'll respond to you. It was a great email, and I appreciate it. Um, this week's been past 2 weeks have been really busy with all the snow and um, you know shoveling out of snow. When we have 12 to 15 inches of snow in the driveway, that was a pain, and then taking the dog out. Everything's an adventure. And, then I take her to the dog park to burn out some energy. And that's always a lot of fun. What's up, Kate? How's it going? All right. Yeah, if everybody just share it out there, maybe I'll try to do that as well. All right. I've got it shared out. Hopefully, people will join up. I know I'm actually doing it exactly when I'm supposed to, and that's throwing everybody off. What's up, Mike? How you doing? Yeah, matter of fact, I might even been a little bit early, but I'm excited. Tonight is Trails That Change You, or They Changed Me, and then feel free to share in the comments anything relative to the topic when we get there. I have it broken down on a few things. So yeah, be sure to join us with that. All right, I think we'll wait just another 30 seconds or so, and then I'll hit that button and let it go. Um, Danny asked the question earlier, am I going to be in Jeep Beach in Daytona? Probably not going to be there, but I'm going to try to be at EJS out in Moab. I'm going to right now. It's on the plan to be at Great Smoky Mountain Jeep Invasion, and I will definitely be in New Jersey Jeep Invasion in Wildwood. Those are my three big ones, and I'm going to try to make it out to Bantam this year and uh, see if we can make that happen. What's up, Eric? On the other side of the mic, listening, hopefully enjoying. Um, Everything needs more Tyree employees. All right. I'm going to hit that button and get us rolling. If I can find the button, I moved the button around, so I have to find it. Well, hey, what's up, Jeep Life family? Welcome back to another episode of the Jeep Life Podcast, where we talk trails, builds, stories, and everything in between. As we start our new season, we are looking for a presenting sponsor right now. Our thanks to Armalite for their continued support for the Jeep Life Podcast. But for tonight's episode, and really for the next couple months, is sponsored by the New Jersey Jeep Invasion, hosted by Blinker Fluid Productions, and those are good friends Jamie and Allison. And our hats out to Jamie and make sure he's taking care of himself. We got a great deal with New Jersey Jeep Invasion this year to promote their show, and I'm excited. It's one of our favorite shows of the year. The 13th annual New Jersey Jeep Invasion, Friday, July 10th through Sunday, July 12th of this year. And we're going to be once a month giving away. We're going to be giving away our 3-day passes for the event, and we'll talk a little bit more about that. But for right now, I'm your host, Jeep Terry. And if you missed last week's episode, you missed one of the best episodes in the history of the podcast, history of the world, even. Our friend Eric was on, and he always brings his A game. I love him, and there's already a write-in campaign to bring him on a more regular basis. And I couldn't agree more. He brings an energy no matter where he is, and he makes me a better person to be around. And I appreciate that. So our thanks to Eric for joining us last week. Go back and check out that episode. It was awesome. Uh, how can you support us as listeners of the podcast? Um, there's several ways that you can um, kind of support us, and one of those is our Patreon. Our Patreon has 3 levels of support, and really, it's just how nice and kind you want to be. Our sport level is the entry level. It's $3 a month. Sahara is $5 a month, and for that Rubicon super duper special, it's $10 a month, and it really helps. And in the pre-show, I kind of alluded I was able to get a new piece of equipment through our Patreon and pay some of our subscriptions out of it. Um, and our thanks to our Patreon supporters tremendously. We appreciate it. Uh, the other way is to help us is to leave a review. Wherever you get your podcast, whatever app you're listening to, or if you do it on YouTube or Facebook or wherever, leave us a review. Tell us what you think. Let us know. And that helps other people find us and helps us grow. I am really excited um, about you when you do that. I'll read all of those um, on air when I get them. It's great. The other is send us an email. Tell us your thoughts on the show, following up on a show, asking for stickers, show topic suggestions, whatever. Those emails really make a difference. And I know that I have one from Matthew that I need to reply and answer to, and I appreciate that. Um, what's up, all the people joining us in the chat? It's awesome seeing everybody, and it makes my day when everybody kind of checks in and says, "Hey, how's it going?" or "Hey, from Canada, eh?" I love it. It makes everything great. That's the other way you support us, is just coming on the show and participating in the comments. I try to put them on the screen. I try to react to them. I try to answer some, but it just makes everything a little bit better and more exciting when we have people checked in and on the podcast. So those are ways to support continued, and my thanks to everyone that does. I appreciate it so much. All right. I don't get to do this that often on the show, but I'm going to do a full on product review. And it's one that kind of makes me giggle, but it also is a true review. And it's pretty cool. All right. So Woowind Ventus Pro tire inflator. They sent me this for review about 6 months ago, 8 months ago. It's a air compressor, and I'm just showing the packaging off right now, but it's super super tiny. I'm it's They say it inflates in 1 minute. We'll get back to that. All right, so the story goes, I had a flat tire on the Kia. I go to grab my power tank, and my power tank is completely empty. A lot of the fittings are loose. I need to break it down and completely um I need to blow it up and kind of rebuild it, right? And then get it refilled. But it was empty, so I was going to fill it up. All right, this is kind of how it happened. I go out and I'm getting ready to take the dog to the dog park. It's cold. It's like 10 degrees, and she doesn't get a lot of run time to run around in the winter. So I had plans to take her, get up early, and let's go to the dog park. Let's run and let her do her thing in the dog park. And I go outside and I expect to see Lexi's Jeep in the driveway. Well, she had gone and helped, her cousin. She was the DD for the night and parked in a different place when she got back home. So it wasn't there, and I just looked around and I saw the Kia with a flat tire. I was like, oh, gotta be kidding me! And it was a bummer. All the strikes were against me. I go and grab my power tank empty. I remember that I'd given away my floor jack because my floor jack doesn't reach, um, you know, Kylo's axles anymore or any of the lift points. And then the bottle jack that I have is way, way, way too tall to fit into the Kia. So I'm like, oh, what's going to happen? And I've got a tire repair kit from Power Tank. Shout out to Power Tank for that tire repair kit. But everything is so low and small in that Kia that I just can't I can't handle it. I can't see around. I couldn't feel anything. And I'm like, all right, well, I can't fix this if I can't see it and I can't jack it up to take it off to bummer. Oh wait, I have a little bitty tiny compressor. Let's see what this does. So I come and grab it, and literally it's still in the box. And I I I'm like, I don't know if this is gonna work. I hadn't taken it out of the box. I haven't even looked at it. But it's one of those things where time it was important for me because it was 10 degrees. I needed to get that done. So I grab it, I take it out, and I'm looking at this thing and there's no way this is going to be able to help me out in the right way. And it, it it's so small. I mean, it's so small. But let's go through the contents real quick, on this. You get this nice carry bag. I'm going to try to put everything in the in the camera for you. Uh, You get in it also this, cigarette lighter adapter to just, regular port. That doesn't charge it. That only powers it, and I figured that out the hard way. Um, then here's the actual compressor. It's about the size of a TV remote, but thicker. Um, Little rubber feet down at the bottom, and on top, it looks like you've got a flashlight, the charging point, and it's USB-C charging point, and then the power, and then at the top there's a screw hole where you place the very, very short hose, and this end right here will just screw down to the top, and then this end it's a straighter, so it'll screw right onto your tire. Uh, and then you can set the desired, you know, amount of PSI that you want in your tire and push start, and it goes. Um, I hadn't charged it at all. Oh, and you do get a couple little adapters and sports needle or whatever. So you could use it for blowing up your floaties and stuff for the summer. Um, it's great. I honestly I think it's great. I think it's wonderful. Um, does it do exactly what they say? Ish. I'm going to use the word ish on it. These are very, very small tires. It took about 10 to 15 minutes to blow them up. Since I hadn't charged it, it worked about 4 minutes, got it up to about 17 psi, and then died. Um, and, I was like, oh, maybe this will charge it. So I plug in the cigarette lighter adapter, plugged it in, and nothing happened. Nothing came on. I turned it on by button. It came on and it was powered. So it powered off the cigarette lighter adapter and did a wonderful job. It took it all the way up to 36 psi, which is where I wanted it to be. I'd set it to 36 and just let it go, and it turned off at 36. Did exactly what I wanted to do. It took about 10 to 12 minutes. Online, it says inflate in 1 minute. There is absolutely no way that it would inflate a tire of any size in 1 minute. It might maybe inflate a beach ball in 1 minute, maybe a motorcycle tire in a couple of minutes. Um, but you just have to set the desired pressure, let it go. It does its thing. This is something that I will have in that Kia going forward. It'll never be out of that Kia, and it did a great job. Retails for about $80. I think this is awesome, and it will replace my power tank. No, it never will. My power tank is still my go-to, but it certainly is a great product to keep in the car for emergencies just like this. How well do I think it would do filling a 38 from 8 to 30? I think it will probably have to be turned off and turned back on halfway through. I'm not sure that it would do all four tires at that either. But it says on the box it's going to do about 15 tires. Um, and I'm sure that's it, smaller tires, whatever. It's not going to do on a charge. It says it'll do it on a charge. Um, I, Eric, you're right, about a month. It, I don't have multiple air support, like Dustin does, but man, this one kind of saved the day. And I got it up to 36, and went to 4 or 5 different tire shops that were too busy to handle it, because Saturday, for some reason, it was crazy around here. But went and took it and finally got to one, and they did it by the middle of the afternoon. It was able to be fixed. It was just a nail that the head had been ground down on the turnpike. So it's um, a great gadget to have just in case. And I would recommend going and getting this, or maybe a birthday gift or a Christmas gift for anyone to keep in their car. 100% think it's a great emergency type um, air supply. So kudos to Woo Wind Ventus Pro Tire Inflator. I think it's great. All right, enough of that. Last week we had our drawing for the New Jersey Jeep Invasion 3-day pass. Our winner, Adam, Eric's new best friend, won that. Well, Adam is not able to attend. So I know that you're saddened by that, Eric, but Adam is not able to attend, but he wanted to make sure that we reached out and we had another winner. And I did the drawing one day this week. I don't remember which day, just to kind of replace it. Troy Poliski is our winner. Troy's been a friend of the podcast for a long time, and he's from Tennessee. So this kind of gives him an excuse to come up to the Northeast and spend some time, maybe wheel a little bit. So Troy, congratulations on that. And I think we may have a sponsor for the podcast at New Jersey Jeep Invasion. I'm going to hold off on that announcement until I get 100% confirmation. Oh, Troy has 3 minutes to claim his prize. All right, Troy, the countdown is on. No, Kate, he has a blue Jeep. He has a Chief blue Jeep, which broke all of our winning rules, I know, but I'm really excited about New Jersey Jeep Invasion and seeing everybody there, and it's just one of the best ran events of the year, and to get all the sand in my Jeep, it's kind of worth it. So our congrats to Troy for for his winning. So now, and I don't know that I made this clear, but how I've kind of done this is everybody that's already in, the drawing is all the already people who participate. You automatically, unless you won already, you get moved over to the next month anyway, because you're already active and participating. Now we just add more, and so it's funny because I watched December's numbers. It was pretty good numbers, and then January almost doubled in participation and getting up there. So I can't wait to see what February does. So tell your friends, if they haven't bought their New Jersey Jeep Invasion pass already, that they need to listen and get registered. Um, yeah, we fact checked on Troy's Jeep color. Um, you have an orange one, and that's a shade of red. I guess yellow and red make orange, so I guess I failed on that one, right? um, but anyway, congrats, Troy, and everybody that hasn't won yet. You still have a chance to win, and the more people we have, the better it is. All right, on to our main topic, and I put this out a little bit earlier. Um, the main topic is I was just thinking about the trails that changed me. Um, and this isn't this is more reflective. This is more honest. This is grateful. There's zero ego here. This is uh, people think jeeping is about builds, tires, and obstacles, but if you do this long enough, you realize the trail, regardless of what trail it is, whether it's a paved trail or not, teaches you more about yourself than it does about your rig. This isn't a trail guide episode. I'm not going to talk about techniques. I'm not going to talk about um, what line you should take. This is kind of about lessons and not lines. It's these trails shaped how you drive, how you lead, and how you show up for others. Um, some I Eric, we're going to talk a little bit about that, but not a lot. And some trails give you confidence, some humble you, some flat out test your patience, and some remind you why this community matters so much. If a trail has ever changed you, humbled you, brought you closer to the people around you, then you already get it. Let us know in the comments on a trail that maybe changed you as we go along. There'll be nice little topics that you can chime in on and kind of how it works. So I'm gonna go with the trail that humbled me, and this is the one that I came in really confident. I had a rental um, Jeep. It was a 2-liter 4-cylinder, well built on 37s, etc. Um, but it was Metal Masher, and that's out in Moab. One of my favorite trails, period. And it was the first time that I had um, done this one kind of solo, where I didn't have somebody in the vehicle that I was taking with, and so it was just solo, so I could kind of um, do things my way, and it was very interesting. Metal Masher can definitely be a challenging trail. There are 3 or 4 obstacles that are mind-numbingly difficult, but almost all of them have some sort of go around if you need. Uh, but Metal Master kind of taught me confidence, and confidence is patient. Um, it's not just like ego or anything like that. It's more patience than it is um, anything. And I learned it, it all right, we the time that we went on this particular run, There was a lot of us. There was a ton of people in our group, and I'm actually going to use this a little bit later as an example as well. Um, but the first thing you come to is a real nice. It, it's not necessarily a hard ledge, but it's a real steep ledge, and it kind of sets the stage for the rest of the thing. And I was kind of helping spot some people through it, and it was kind of dug out, and but it was fun, and I was at the back of the group, and so everybody had made it through this obstacle, and I been a part of helping people and watching lines and everything, and I came up and approached it just solemnly and looked at it and went, you know what, I think I can do this. And sure enough, I just walked to it and climbed right up. And it was, I didn't have a spotter. It was just me. And it was one of those things where I relied on me, I relied on the vehicle, and I just walked up it. And, it wasn't like I was trying to show off because there was nobody around. It was just me. And, it wasn't anybody building up my confidence. It wasn't anybody screaming for me. It wasn't anybody showing me what to do. I just did it on my own, and it kind of gave me that calmness, that throw out the ego, throw out the I have to prove something with this, because it was just me. Slow down. It was one of those things where if I didn't make it, I would just go back down and maybe do the easier section of it. But I walked right up it, and so it was one of those things that kind of um, gave me that you know calmness inside. That hey, you don't have to know all the answers. You don't have to be the one that brags about it. It's cool to do stuff on your own. Now there were other parts of the trail that I was able to do that as well. But I think this kind of humbled me and pulled me in, and it was a great time. I really enjoyed that moment, and we're going to come back to this particular trail, this particular run, a little bit later. All right. Is there any trail out there that kind of humbled you? Kind of, it. I don't know humbled is the right word, but maybe it is. One that kind of spoke to you, didn't beat you down. I'm not talking about that kind of humbling. I'm talking about, one that kind of allowed you to reflect and go, you know what, I got this. Um, I'm I'm here. I feel good. Because the next section, we're going to talk about trails that build confidence. And some of that came out of that Metal Masher, but I'm going to go way back um, to a time that built confidence for me, and I know that Scott listens to the show every once in a while. He's been on the show multiple times. He's Eric's brother, um, but Scott was with me multiple times on this trail, and it kind of built that confidence. And it's one of the trails that when I'm guiding, I like to take people to, because it hopefully does for them what it did for me. And it is BA. It's Trail 34, and BA stands for Broken Ankle. It's at AOAA, um, out in coal country, our home trail, our home park. Um, why did this matter? It it mattered because it was technical but fair. So almost any tire size can make it through this. I mean, yeah, um, you don't have to have a humongous lift. Does all that help? Absolutely. What is required here? Commitment. Clean driving, 100% is required here. Putting your tires exactly where they're supposed to be. Um, and for me, um, the moment it was kind of the moment where things clicked with me. It was one of those things where the first time I went through, I was putting my tire where I thought I was supposed to, um, but didn't have, I guess, the trust in myself. But Scott and Don actually both really kind of helped me figure out this. Um, but it kind of became the thing that clicked, doing it multiple times, figuring out the first time I go through how much control arms I hit on rocks, how many shock mounts on the back did I hit rocks on, but where and understanding which direction to hit those rocks, what placement of the tire, so that the second or third time that I go through that trail, I'm no longer hitting metal on it. I'm putting the tires where they're supposed to be, and I'm learning that, and this is super important. I'm learning to trust the people that are spotting me, and we kind of talked about that a little bit before. But it's about that trust and about the confidence that you have in you, so that you can listen to somebody that's giving you directions. So you're trusting your inputs. You're feeling what's happening with the Jeep. You know where things change. Um, yeah, very much doing the black loops on Fern for the first time with Billy Kate. 100%. Uh, I, that was another super confidence booster for me as well. Um, and I think it's the first time you do something and you're able to go, I did that. I can't believe I just did that. That was amazing. I build so much confidence as we're doing. So confidence isn't loud. There are some people who have that confidence that's super loud, but for me, it's more of a quiet, controlled, and repeatable confidence, right? Um, so as a trail noob, is there like reference guide or best practices for picking lines? I've heard a lot about putting your tires on high spots. What else? Um, Adam, to be honest with you, it's getting out there and doing it with someone that has experience. I know that you're local to me, and I would love for you and I to go out and do some trails, and it's amazing what these vehicles can do stock. And that's another thing. I For the first year I had my Jeep, I didn't do anything with it. I didn't lift it. I spent time on the trail and got some seat time. And my friend Holly, that's her thing, seat time over anything. Just getting out there, being out there really helps. And that kind of comes from that confidence, coming from execution, not from hype. Letting the Jeep work for you and learning how to feel that, um, it's huge. And sometimes it's not able to be communicated by words, but more like by action and by doing it. Sandra, I've only taken mine on trails once at AOA, and that day I was happy to make it out without breaking anything mechanically. Yeah, it's that's a really good point. Is don't break anything, but that's why you want to go with somebody with a little bit of experience, and not to overshoot, right? You learn to be in that boundary of where your skill set is, and then maybe push it just a little bit. But if you've never been, um, you don't have anything to push. Being out there is pushing the boundary. So let's learn how to do it. And I know that our trail ride, for our Jeep Club, we do it spring and fall, is a good place to go because it's broken into skill levels, and you can find a good guide that can take you through greens. There's plenty of green trails out there. Get out there, feel it, just do it. Yeah, the first time you start staring at the sky and can't see what's going over, it's a strange feeling. I 100% agree with that, Sean. And and that's one of the things about some of these trails is, yeah, you can't see over that hood, and it is, you almost have to literally trust what's going on, right? And trust the people and remember what you saw. I think one of the things that I really try to do is I try to think a couple moves ahead, and that really allows me to see in my mind's eye that obstacle even after it leaves um my field of vision. It's still in my brain trying to work it out. So um you know, take your time, learn your things, um and that's going to lead into the next one is um trail failure that taught patience. I'm going to set the scene on this one a little bit. Um, my friend and former co-host, he's doing so many amazing things in his life and doesn't have the ability to be here all the time. But anyway, he and I wheel a lot together. And I remember one time this is before he bought his buggy. He had his XJ, his Cherokee puddles, and we're out and doing a run, and we just go straight out to the back of the park to Lower Anthracite, which is one of the black trails on the backside of the park. It's a pretty difficult trail. Um, and we get out there, and before we even get started, we're maybe 40 feet into the trail. Um, his steering breaks on puddles. So, it's me and him out there. I think Lexi's there. Dawn is there, but Dawn leaves his Jeep back at the parking lot, and um it's it's the four of us. We worked to figure it out. We All right, cool. We got the part that we need, um, or we know the part we need. So we go into town. Everybody loads up in my Jeep, goes into town. We get the part. We're heading back. So we'd gone to AutoZone, heading back out of town to the, and right as we get out of town, as we're heading back to the park, um, my, um, uh, what am I trying to think of? The on the belt, tensioning pulley. My tensioning pulley fails. So we're on the side of the road, and I'm like, I could have gotten really angry, but this is kind of where that patience came in. Um, Billy hitchhiked back to the park to get Dawn's Jeep. All right, so Dawn goes out. I mean, Dawn and me and Lexi stay there with the Jeep. Billy hitchhikes back to the park. Who knows? We thought maybe we'll never see Billy again. Um, anyway, he goes and gets Dawn's Jeep, comes back, picks me up. We go to AutoZone. We buy the part for my Jeep, replace the tensioning pulley on my Jeep. We all go back in to the park. We leave Dawn's Jeep in the parking lot again, and we head back to the back of the park and we fix Billy's Cherokee on the trail. We leave from there because it's time for the park to close, head back out, then head home. We didn't um we didn't even get the wheel. We just made it out. So we all drove an hour and a half to the park, get out, fix a couple of Jeeps, and then get back in the Jeeps and head back um home. So an hour and a half back home. So that was that was one of the things that, you know, patience is important. None of us really got mad. So we didn't want to rush anything because, rushing fixes can make things worse. Um, Emotions cloud judgment, and sometimes progress looks like stopping. And the progress that we had was we made it there and we made it home. Nobody died. So that was one of our wheeling trips where we went to wheel and didn't wheel at all. Uh, I want to read Sean's real quick. One of the things that took me a while to learn was how capable a stock or mild build actually is. So many overbuilt rigs. Um, Wheel your stock rig. Absolutely wheel your stock rig. Eric alluded to it earlier. Um, I went. I got when I worked at Quadratech. One of the cool things we did was we were going to build a Jeep to give it away, and so we got this Jeep from Jeep um, to give away, and the angle we took in our brilliant marketing digital content team was we were going to take this Jeep stock on street tires out to Moab, run some trails with it, make some content, and then bring it back home, build it to this superstar rig, and go and do the same things, and show the difference between a stock and a well built rig. Well, I was able to take that stock Jeep. The only alteration that we did to that Jeep the entire time was it had a best top soft top on it that wasn't a factory soft top. It was a best top, and which adds 0 horsepower and 0 clearance, right? And we unbolted the sway bar end links and took them off. That was it. That was the only modifications we did to that vehicle. And for the week I'm driving that thing around. I'm I'm the little guy on, street tires, driving a Jeep in Moab, getting all the looks. But we took that thing everywhere, top of the world, Hell's Revenge, um, Fins and Things, Steel Bender. I mean, we took it everywhere, and scraped up the bottom. Control arms are gouged and everything, but it's amazing what a capable driver, that vehicle, and a good spotter, the things they can do. Um, I was only limited by clearance, and it just meant I have to drive better, right? It meant I had to have a little more intuition, um, a little more patience, a little more confidence. All those things that we've already kind of talked about, that right? Um, yeah, it's true. When you have those kind of instances, the only thing you do is laugh about it. Um, Adam, I really like that. Nobody died. That's great. Um, yeah, Jamie, driver mod will take you everywhere. I 100% agree with that. Now, I love having a built rig, but it the driver overcomes just about everything, right? Um, our last wheeling trip at the end of 25, and it's from Josh. I blew a tire, sidewall, no spare. Took about 18 to 20 regular tire plugs to get me off the trail. Everybody was so helpful and took their time to make sure I made it home. Learned so much that day and what not to do. There's so much truth to that, and we're going to get to that in a minute because I really like the community aspect of that a lot. Because which trail where the community showed up, and I've got 100 of these examples, but I'm going to use um, the top of the world, Moab. Um, it was a tread lightly project. We talked about it last week with Eric and his woes with it, but I'm just going to kind of talk about where the community kind of showed up. It was the Tread Lightly project, building some buck and rail to change the parking patterns, or where two trails meet up, the traffic patterns. So this buck and rail was, it was very purposely built. But it was an amazing time. It was one of the best Tread Lightly projects I've been on. It was fun. It was great. There were so many people there. I mean, so many people. It was like the who's who of the off road industry. Ian Johnson from Big Tire Garage was there. Several representatives from SEMA, our good friend Karen and Kim, both were SEMA and great leaders in their right. They were there. Greg Henderson from Unofficial Use Only. He was there. The guys from Tyree were there. Eric and it was just I loved it. The guys from Quadratech, of course, Quadratech. Those guys will be there. My team from Oracle was there, and so many other volunteers. Members of the BLM. It wasn't about ego, brands, or social media. It was about stewardship, and that reminded me that the best part of jeeping is about the obstacles. It's the people you do it with, and it was great to be out there and gloves on, throwing these poles around, using these impact guns and large bolts. It was just great. It was great camaraderie. The team from Tread Lightly, was awesome, and Evan. It was one of those things where the community kind of showed up big, and then of course Eric goes and breaks Overkill, but it was I I loved that moment. I've done so many other Tread Lightly projects out there, here, Nevada. I think that camaraderie, that teamwork of people in the industry, and volunteers coming together for a common good. That it's access doesn't protect itself, so we have to do what we can to make it viable for us now and for future people to be able to get out on the trail. Um, yeah, Kate, leave no Jeep behind. That's really important. Help everybody out, and it's amazing when the community comes together like that. All right, bonus segments, and these are going to be a little bit quicker, not as much story, maybe a little bit of story, but they're going to be a little bit quicker. Um, Longest recovery, and I've got three, and I could probably come up with more, but two of them are on Hell's Revenge and one on Metal Masher. So first, Hell's Revenge one, we're doing actually the two Hell's Revenge recoveries are doing the Hell's Gate obstacle. Um, but the first one is a Bronco, and breaking a tie rod on Hell's Gate, which the weak point in a Bronco is the tie rod. But it took two Jeeps to do that recovery. One part of the way down, the JKS team, the sport truck team, and then another Jeep up anchoring that to hold them. Then they were able to go back to town, get the tie rod, do the repair on the trail, get off there. But I'm down at the bottom of Hell's Gate, and I meet some great people. Man, that was a really good time, because I did get to meet some really wonderful people, down at the bottom, and make some great friendships that to this day are, if I need them, I can text them up and get help with that. The second time at Hell's Gate, the red TJ that flipped, and nobody was hurt. As a matter of fact, that TJ actually drove out on its own power, which was great. But again, that required multiple Jeeps doing the recovery. Eric and I were in one Jeep doing work, and I can't remember who else was anchored, but that was really pretty amazing. With this, it was a grandfather and a grandson, and both might have been two grandsons, and they were calm. Everybody else was calm. It just that you do whatever it takes um, to make this happen and to make people safe and help people out, no matter what. And the next one was Mirror Gulch at Metal Masher, and it's a really interesting. I love this feature, but earlier I said in Metal Masher, almost all the obstacles is a way to go around. Well, Mirror Gulch, there is no way to go around. It's a little narrow canyon, little narrow passage um, with some sharp corners in it, but it's very, very narrow. You can fit one vehicle, and that's it. Um, but in this particular instance, one of our friends, his wife the Jeep broke down, and everybody just pitched together to help see if they could repair it on the trail. In this case, it was one of those things that we need to actually get the Jeep off the trail, tow it out behind another Jeep, and be teamwork. But it took a long time for that to happen, and I'm stuck in the middle of Mirror Gulch. I can't go anywhere up or down, so we're all talking, or we go up and help out, and it was absolutely incredible, the teamwork and how that worked, because nobody could move. And it was one of those things. I wasn't involved with the recovery, but it it was good to see everybody come together. And that did take a while. We were there for more than a couple hours waiting on that. And then of course you get to the top, Arth overlook, and it's just an amazing view. It's worth every penny of it. But recoveries teach you humility, teamwork, and calmness under pressure, I hope. So that was my three longest recoveries. um Looking back on them, they make you tired, they wear you out, but it's worth it in the end, because you get a story out of it, right? You get cool stuff. All right, now, most scenic trails, and I've got three that are tied. Thanks, Josh, for always love the stories you tell. I'm a storyteller by nature, I think, and I like to share the stories that I've been through. I love to, have a margarita or seven, after, and retell the story, wherever we happen to be. Um, it's a three-way tie for most scenic trail, and all three of them are in Moab. And I know that there are others out there, um, but top of the world, um, there's no view like it. When you get up to the top, you're by yourself, and you put your Jeep on the cantilever rock and look down to 3,000 feet below, and it's absolutely stunning. Everybody's seen views from here. If not, go go Google top of the world Moab and see what I'm talking about. It's absolutely stunning. I enjoyed taking the stock um, Jeep Sport up there, and putting it out on the cantilever rock, and kind of proudly standing beside it. I would love to take my personal Jeep there someday and get that same look. Anything in the same range, or San Juan range, is so scenic. Yeah, absolutely, 100%. Um, Eric's got Hell's Revenge, and there is a beautiful, beautiful overlook over the Colorado River on Hell's Revenge. But it didn't make my three-way tie. Moab Rim made my one side, you overlooking the dangerousness of the Colorado River. The other side, you're looking over Moab in all its glory. It's absolutely gorgeous up there. That was one of the trails that I said I would never go on, and ended up going on. Peer pressure is real, folks. And then Metal Masher, and we talked about the overlook at the top of Metal Masher, and it's from there you really only have one more obstacle after that, but Arth's um, overlook is just, it's beautiful. It overlooks Arches National Park. It's just, it's stunning. I It's great. Um, yeah, I agree. You know, Eric, how many times have you and I been on that trail and run it every year? It's so beautiful. It's amazing. Um, all right, so I've got some honorable mentions for Overlook. I mean, for most scenic trails. Trail 12 at AOAA is got a nice picnic area um, that's kind of a little higher altitude and overlooks the valley. It's absolutely beautiful any time of the year. Um, and you know, Kate, you're right. Any trail in the fall is always beautiful. The view from Panther Rock and top of Wind Rock, both are great, and I'm looking forward to hitting that again. Um, but yeah, I got to shout out my home trail at Trail 12. Uh, I know that it's a green trail, but it's got, you know, it's like advanced green. But it's a good trail and beautiful, absolutely beautiful. Um, Schneebly Hill, Schneebly Hill, and it's actually Schneebly Hill Road, I believe, is the actual name of it. But it's in Sedona, and that Red Rock view out there is just incredibly beautiful. And it's just like everything else. When you round a corner, you see something absolutely new and beautiful. It's got tons of mesas in the background. It's just absolutely beautiful. And you know, the red mud clay that's there. Um, you know, and sometimes the most beautiful moments come after the hardest obstacles. And you know, I know that's true for Moed Rim and Metal Masher. Top of the World, there's one real obstacle in it, but you kind of get to reflect after you've done that. Um, and it's kind of nice. So you know, these trails just didn't change how I drive. They changed how I listen, how I lead, and how I show up for people, how I kind of approach everything. The trails don't owe us anything, but we can always gain something from them. We owe the trails the respect, and that comes from, how do we respect the obstacle that's in front of us, to how do we respect it and clean up um, after ourselves. And then we owe each other patience and grace, because what might be easy for us might be the hardest thing the other driver has ever gone through. And I know that's the case because it's been me before. I've been in that case where, everybody else is really good at what they're doing and I'm just learning. I'm the learner. And so we owe each other patience with that. And if a trail's ever challenged or changed you, humbled you, brought you closer to people around you, then you get it. Um, and thanks for letting me to share how these trails have changed me, and how hopefully you will take your next outing and kind of reflect on that and enjoy the moment. Just have fun, right? And get out there and do it. Get the seat time, and if anybody wants to go on a trail, if I can make it happen, I'm gonna go. I'm up for hitting the trail last minute even. Um, so if we can arrange that, then we'll do that. I'm looking forward to, maybe we'll do a Jeep Life podcast meetup at the trails, and whoever can make it can make it. All right, I want to hear from you. We're looking for guests. We're looking for listeners. We're looking for content. If email us uh, and let us know what you like about the show, what you don't like about the show, what you'd like to hear more of, what you'd like to hear less of. If there's something you just don't like it, then let me know. And you know, of course, we're going to listen. Um, if you have an off road legend you'd like for it to hear from, go to our website, and there's a form on there to fill out. Let me know. Um, Looking for sponsors for 2026. We're looking for monthly, quarterly, yearly spots. Info at jeeplifepodcast.com will get us there. Go to our link tree. Go linktree / Jeep Life Podcast, to our Patreon, subscribe at YouTube. Um, Tell your friends to get on Facebook. You'll get a notification when we go live. Uh, that's how you can help. Well, that's going to wrap it up for us. Thanks to everyone tuning in live, commenting, participating. It's been amazing. Our thanks to you for supporting the Jeep Life community. And as always, our thanks to our partners, Armalite, Pipes, Exhaust, Alpine Audio, Power Tank, Tyree Lighting. Keep those Jeeps rolling, and I'll catch you next time. Until then, here's a big Jeep wave to you, everybody. Terry Trail Day, I'd love it. I can't wait. I know, Alan, all you gotta do is, if we're both off at the same time, let's go. I know, otherwise I'll see you in April at the Spring Trail ride, right? I love it. Thanks for that, Adam, dude. If you want, and we'll drag Eric out on the trail. Let's go sometime, and we'll get the tires dirty. All right, put them on the right rocks. I don't do mud. I'm not a fan. But we'll get it started right. Thanks, everybody. This has been a lot of fun. I enjoyed this show, and I like how sometimes I can come up with topics almost out of nowhere, and that's the hard part, is coming up with good content that people like. But otherwise, hey, I'm going to get out of here and get some rest. Happy Monday, and I'll see you soon.